We're going to call to order the February 21st meeting for the Competitive Edge Charter Academy. And I would like to note that all of our board members are present. And I'd like to ask everybody to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to item 1.04, the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion for that?
Move approval.
A motion by board member Bannister, and a
Second.
by board member Debbie Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Now we're moving on to our highlights, and we have the superintendent talking about the Academy Friday Family Program and the principal.
Mr. Me.
All right, good evening. I'd like to invite up my PYP and MYP coordinators, Jen Stahl and Ms. Bernier. All right, guys. So we are excited to be here this evening. Just want to thank you, Board President Snellings, members of the board, Superintendent Binks, members of cabinet, to talk about Friday Families. And Friday Families has been at CECA since its inception. And it's a great program to bring together our school community. And we had to take a break there for a couple of years, and the kids were excited. They were asking about it. And it's Friday Families coming back, and this year we're excited that it's back. So let's share a little bit more about that. Our Friday Families purpose. So the IB program really is all about building a community and really building yourself up to be the best member of that community that you can be. So the IB community is a main purpose. Our community service, we hang our hat on, making sure that we contribute. And community can mean a lot of different things. Our school community, your home community, your sport team community. So making sure that our students and our families are contributing to their community of their choice on a regular basis. Leadership. You're going to hear here in a minute how our 8th graders and our 7th graders really step up and become leaders during Friday Families. But all of our students from kindergarten on up kind of learn their role and how they can become a positive influence on those around them. And then last, our student agency piece. We all know the importance of student agency and efficacy when we talk about education, but also just in the real world. And so those are the 4 areas we really focus on for Friday Families. So our Friday Families, each family is made up of 9 students, a kindergarten through 8th grade students. And every other Friday, we get together. Each teacher has between 2 and 3 families in their room, and we focus on a particular area. And there's some components to it. There's a learning component, a little bit of a research component, and then there's a taking action component. And the idea is that you make the connection between what you're learning and doing at school, and then take that home and apply it at home with your own family. Some of our activities so far this year, we had an introduction. You're going to get to hear our team names and some of our fancy team handshakes to build some community there. Our families this year were new. In the past, we had those same families. So each year you'd come back and you'd get to see your 7th grader now as your 8th grader is your leader. Well, this year, Ms. Stahl had the daunting task of taking 675 students and creating families and introducing those students together and building that little family community. And so we began with those introductions, went into defining what a community is and what the particular community we'd focus on each week is, and talking about community service hours. We went into introduction of our global goals, and we'll show those goals to you here in just a minute, but really what we're trying to achieve in our Friday Families. worked on our Christmas carols for the Christmas parade, and you guys saw how that went. It was an exciting time, and we got to work on that as a family to begin with. Right now, we're focusing on emergency preparedness. So we talk about fire safety and earthquake safety, as well as safety supplies and preparedness, and then we take that home with us as well. And then Ray United is, Ms. Warren is here tonight because Ms. Warren brought Ray United to us. But it is us partnering with a nonprofit that brings awareness on health, sport, leadership, safety to African areas. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Stahl.
Okay, my name is Jen Stahl. I'm the IB coordinator for our primary years program at CECA. I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on the community service hours that Joe had mentioned. IB program encourages students to take action in their community, in the local community, global community, and we use Friday Families as this means to do that. So in kindergarten through 8th grade, we ask students to all do community service hours. So you'll see the kindergarten through 2nd grade, we ask them for 10 hours. 3rd through 5th grade is 15 hours. And then our MYP students, we ask that they contribute 20 hours of community service. And we have a link on our CECA website where it's easy for them to log the hours. And at the end of the year, we have an award and a ribbon to give to them just to thank them for their service throughout the year. But we use Friday Families for this reason. Okay, and actually we'll go ahead. Yep. And then here's our global goals. This is another way that we connect our community service hours and opportunities through these global goals. So a community of nations came together and created these 17 goals for the world, kind of like a to-do list for the world. And so we are introducing these in Friday Families. The IB World Schools community is starting to use these throughout the IB work throughout the world as well. And we introduce these to the students. We're starting to use them in our exhibition projects and our community projects for 8th grade students. And so each activity that we do, we try to connect to the global goals. So our earthquake, fire preparedness, emergency preparedness, we connected to Global Goal 11, the sustainable cities and communities. We were going to be partnering with Ray United here shortly, actually Energy in Action now. And actually those connect to a few different goals. Our good health and well-being, goal number 3. We also, it's goal number 10, the reduced inequalities. But we're trying to make that connection, that to-do list worldwide is how we're connecting to the local and global community that way.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Bernier. I am a part-time math teacher for 8th graders and part-time IB coordinator for our NYP program. As you can see, these are 8th graders. We have 75 of them, and I've had the privilege of not only being able to teach them math, but also how to be a leader for the Friday Families. And so when they first came in, as Mr. Mead had mentioned, they hadn't done this for a couple of years. So the last time they had been in a Friday Family was in 5th grade. Usually by 6th grade, 7th grade, you're sometimes a substitute for your 8th grader, and you need to, practice leading a group every now and then. And they never had those opportunities. So I will say that they were a little nervous, they were a little anxious, and it was just kind of unknown to them as it had been a couple of years. So we made sure to play loud music for them when they came in on that morning of their first day and celebrate them as getting to be leaders of CECA and having a family and being in charge of a group of students that look up to them and admire them. And we tried to instill some of those leadership qualities in them and that mindset of, this isn't just 8th grade math, this is you leading a group for a common cause for our school. And so we were able to every other Friday morning, give them their paper, which is their resource that they need to have and to be prepared. It is scripted. If you would like to read the script, they may. If you would like to say their own words, that's the opportunity for them to give it a spin on who they are and their personality. And they have all adhered to this position in amazing ways. They have done, I've only heard just good things that they have been doing. Even if they sometimes might have issues in math, they are leaders in quite a families, and they take that job seriously. And I'm just so proud of them. And so I think the next slide might show, we do hold them accountable. We have a feedback form that we give to all of the teachers in the classroom because they're all dispersed, and it's kind of cool to see them on a Friday. At the end of the day, in literally 3 minutes, you have 675 kids all moving to the classrooms that they're assigned to, and you have a 7th grader picking up a kindergartner, a 6th grader picking up a 1st grader, 5th picking up a 2nd, and then 4th grader picking up a 3rd grader. 3rd graders don't like really getting picked up anymore, but they deal with it. And then the 8th grader doesn't pick up any students unless asked because they need to go straight to the classroom. They're in charge of getting the 9 chairs together. They're in charge of greeting their families as they come through the door. They're in charge of, they need to go to the new line and set up whatever presentations on there, the links, the pictures, and any supplies. They're ready to go. And they have their groups come in, they greet them, that's how they're doing. And so this form just allows for us to check in on how their Friday family is doing, and the teachers will give us feedback. And so if you go to the next slide, I have a whole stack of them, and I always read them to the students. They love it when the teachers talk about them. Like I have Friday families feedback forms, and they all get really quiet because they wait for their name to get called. And as you can see, this is one of our teachers. All leaders were kind and patient. And then we gave a scale of 1 to 4, and we told them that we expect a 4. That's our expectations, nothing less. And so, as you can see, they command attention, they show enthusiasm. And like I said, these are some students that are very quiet during math time, but they're like a different person during this time. And so it's really cool to see them utilizing their strengths, and even maybe areas where they didn't think that they were strong in, that they're recognizing their talents and their abilities to be a leader because they were put in that position regardless. And so we do have some of our families here today. As you can see, we have the Sweet Team and the Blazing Cheetahs. So we will let them come. Do we all fit? Do we fit? Just a little bit. One step back, just there we go.
Hi, my name is Olivia Gray. I'm the leader of the Sweet Team, and So one of the things we learned about in Friday Families was disaster preparedness. And one of those was earthquakes. So we learned about how to be home with a family plan, which was like finding all the exit ways out of your house and finding a meeting place outside of your house. We also learned about emergency supply kits, which had like important stuff that you would need if there was an earthquake.
Hello, my name is Caden Kempton, and I'm going to be talking about. Hello, my name is Caden, and I'm going to be talking about earthquakes at school. So if there is an earthquake, we would do a duck and cover drill, which we would go under a desk, and we would protect our neck and head with our hand. After the earthquake, we would all meet up on the field to see if everyone's okay and to make sure everyone's fine. There's around the campus, there is supply crates with a red logo on it, Red Cross, which has supplies such as food, water, tools, and everything else. And now our 6th through kindergartners are going to talk about what they learned and what they liked about Friday night.
My name is Cole, and something I've learned in Friday night was what to do with a natural disaster, and something I like about Friday night is that we have a little buddy to pick up.
My name is Melody, and I learned in Friday Families how to make every communications plan, and I learned and I liked about Friday Families is that we weren't confident, and what I like about Friday Family is we all be together and that's I think that is someone that could learn Friday Families is what to do during a disaster, and the thing that I liked about Friday Families is that and my name is Lucas, and I'm going to be talking about fire. When there's a fire, go to the field. Go to the field and just stay fighting. And what I like is that we have a tank like frogs. Those frogs.
Hi, my name is Joshua Clark, and we are the YCJUSD. And this is our head chief.
And Joshua,
Yes, thank you. All right, so we learned about disaster situations, but said earthquakes we would always be in case of a fire. So the necessary thing to do is to have a drawn out map of your home and have at least 2 different ways to get like each picture. Right? Then put the map in a position your own house. Also, choosing a place to meet outside of the house is very crucial to make sure everyone's safe and sound. In your case, like, when you need to rush out of your house, it would be very important to make sure that no windows, doors, are blocked by any that's at home or school. Okay.
All right, so in fires in a school, there are a lot more people like in your classroom than there would be at your home. So in every classroom, there's at least 2 exits. So in case one is covered by debris, the other one should still be accessible. And if it's not, like he said, they will always have a emergency supply in the bottom usually. So one thing with that over is that if you call 911 for an emergency and you just don't say anything, then they will have your location anyways. So that can be helpful so that you can have more time to get out of the house and make sure that you and other people are safe.
My name is Joshua, and I want to be for the earthquake drill and the fire drill, and to make sure that you don't run off to the hot, and if it's hot, then you go out and have a break. And I like how I have a little buddy, so I can make sure she knows what to do in her.
Hi, my name is Hudson, and what I like about Friday Families is everybody has an important role to play, and it's not just one person doing everything. And one thing that I've learned is how to build a fire safety.
Hi, my name is Isabella Gomez, and I learned in Friday Families that you can make a safe plan, and you can close the doorknob or the door, and if it's hot, there's a fire inside. And go out and go to another exit, a window or a door into the road so you can get out safely. What I like about Friday Families is that we can all take home knowledge that we learned at Friday Families and tell other people or little ones who don't know any of this yet, and we can tell them and they can tell others, so we can all learn how to be safe and not scared.
Hi, my name is Quentin, and what I learned about Friday Families is that we all come together and we learn about either safety drills or stuff that will help you later on in life. And what I like about Friday Families is that you can always go meet up with someone and have a good time in the classroom with your teacher and things that you don't really see.
Hi, my name's Beverly, and what I learned about Friday Families is an earthquake drill. What I liked about Friday Families was meeting new people. Hi, my name is Sadie, and what I learned about Friday Families is I learned fire drills, and what I liked about Friday Families is I like my teacher.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Is that for Joe?
Yeah.
We do have a question. Yes.
I love that. That's so awesome. How many families are in a classroom? How many families does the teacher have? And then is it 1 hour or is it all day?
So it's every other Friday, and each classroom has 2 to 3 families. It depends on the classroom, and it's about 20 minutes at the end.
Okay.
Any other questions? I'd like to thank, first of all, I'd like to thank the students for being here. You did an outstanding job, and parents, thank you for being part of this. I do like the fact that you have community service as an important part of this, tied to global goals also. I think that's just outstanding. These kids are learning that. And you guys you did a fantastic job. It's great to have a little buddy, it's great to have a big buddy, and it's great to have your own handshake. So you guys are doing okay. So thank you so much for letting us know about your program. And thank you, Mr. Mead. Okay. Now we're moving on to the Great Kindness Challenge. Is you, Ms. Mead?
Yes, actually, it's going to be Mr. Bradley who's going to. Mr. Bradley had the opportunity once again to head up the Great Kindness Challenge. That is a nationwide challenge, and our district participates in it every year. And every year we have a little bit change in the leadership of who's winning. So, Mr. Bradley.
All right, thanks for having me up here. Good evening, President Snellings, members of the board, Superintendent Binks, members of cabinet. So I have the unique opportunity to go out and see our schools throughout the year. one of the best weeks to go out and visit is the Great Kindness Challenge. So they have all these unique events in every single school. And it's not that they're not kind all the time, but they come up with ways to recognize it. So for example, like Chapman Heights, they had a smile at 20 people every single day. And the great thing about the Great Kindness Challenge is that also there's some internal competition going on between our administrators. Like Mr. Mead, I think, was texting me almost every other day, asking me where he was at, along with every other principal that we had. And his goal, Mr. Mead and the team at CECA blew it out of the water. They went for 50 posts a day, and they reached it. I think by the end of the week, you almost hit that 250. And so with the Great Kindness Challenge, with that is the social media challenge. Their goal is to post as much as they can, and depending on how many likes they get or how many times they post, how many times they use a hashtag versus how many students they have, the school with the highest percentage wins. So for places like YHS that has, over 2,000 students, and then Mr. Mead, who has over 600 students, we have to make it fair. So, the high school can't just have every student post. And anyways, the way we select the winners, the highest percentage of posts per student wins. And this is a little video announcing the winner, although we already know that Mr. Mead won because this is CECA's board meeting, so no surprise. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and then after we're going to present him with a banner. So that's our little short video to announce the winners. And of course, I think, how many years in a row have you won now, Mr. Mead?
1, 2, and took a year off.
Oh, took a year off. He gave everybody else a chance to win. So now we're going to present them with a banner that they can hang at their school. They can have it there all year long until next year when the next Great Kindness Challenge comes along. And then we go through the same process. Do I have any questions? For me?
Do you want to have a picture with Mr. Mead in the banner now, or do you want to wait till the YCJUSD? Okay, we'll do it twice.
Yeah, no, yeah, you got to watch the video twice. Sorry. Okay. That's all right.
Any questions? I'm not surprised about the social media presence. I see more of Frank Tucci and Joe Mead than I see my wife online. So congratulations on that and participating. And thank you, Lance, for helping facilitate that.
President Snelling's CECA was able to have as a reward a NASCAR card. Joe, do you want to talk a little bit about that? And,
yeah, it was great. We were lucky to partner with, it was a program that came out of Colton TV where they brought, I'm not sure exactly what the connection was, but they brought a NASCAR for students to come and view. And then there was an anti-bullying assembly that went along with it that was connected to superheroes. And so our students loved it. It was a great day and loved the NASCAR.
Yeah, the connection is Todd Smith, who's an SRO in Colton, who's a big NASCAR guy. So that's great you were able to participate in that. Okay, is that it? Awesome. Okay. Any public comment? No? Okay, so we're moving on to Mr. Gregory, I believe. Hi, Mr. Gregory.
Good evening.
The advisory committee report.
Thanks for having me again. Since we have a lot of parents in the crowd, I'm part of the Parent Advisory Council, which any parent can sign up to volunteer on. It's a great opportunity to kind of learn the ins and outs of the school. So this last meeting, we went over kind of, we always go over the same items the site council goes over as well. It's kind of a site council of the teachers and then the parents and community advisory role. We looked at social emotional learning. We're hiring a speaker that's going to focus on our international baccalaureate profiles like empathy, self-respect. Especially, it's for grades 3 through 8. It is something that PTO actually helps to sponsor that event for us. We started our mid-year LCAP review, and although this year we don't actually have to present a mid-year, we wanted to go and look at what our goals and our actions were, where we are, kind of review it, make sure our data sets are ready, make sure our goals are there. In March, we're going to actually review that data, get our metrics ready, and then April we're going to survey all those results and look at our new goals for the LCAP coming in June, I believe. We talked about our test dates, our testing dates for PYP and MYP, and when those are starting. Went over collaboration for staff, new things that we're doing, whether we're the process for either full or half day options, whatever best so we can get that done. Likewise, how to simplify the process. And last but not least, we also went over another approved library book list. We get the list from the librarian, review it, and if there's any conflicts, we get to go in and say why, what, how, and where, and or we can choose to read them since they're pretty short, most of the PYP. That's pretty much it. I'd like to interject real quick on Friday Family, since my daughter was here last year at CECA. So she was able to watch it the whole way through, and not only does it help teach those kids leadership, but community is really important. My daughter knows every child at the school because you walk through these different families. But where I didn't realize it really showed up was when she went to the high school orientation this year, and she had her Friday family members from before going and seeing her, excited she was there, and knowing those people in those other grades. Because it really helps that divide of, oh, you're in this grade, I'm in this grade. And so it really kind of showed up when she went to the high school orientation as well. She was excited. So
that's a great result of that program.
A really strong result of something that I think you guys should know from the parent side. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Any questions? Okay. Now we're going to move on to the consent calendar. Are there any changes or additions? Okay. Hearing no changes or additions, I would take a motion for approval of the consent calendar items as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve.
Okay. I have a motion by Board Member Bob Miller. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Sharon Bannister. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. And now we're moving on to additional administrative information. Ms. Binks.
Yes, I would just thank Board Member Bob Miller, who helped us to get the program for NASCAR to go to competitive edge, and also encourage everyone to remember that soon there'll be projects that everyone can go and visit and help with, and I'm sure Mr. Reed will bring that back and talk to us about it, but it's something that we all look forward to. So thank you, Mr. Reed.
Anything else? No? Okay. All right, we're moving on to board member comments. Board Member Bob Miller.
Yeah, I just want to thank, it was great having the students here today, especially Lucas. I wrote his name down on if there's a fire, run to the field. I thought that was good advice. So Lucas, good job if you're still out there. But I know it's hard. There you are, right back there, almost in the back row. Just thought that, and it's hard to get up in front of everybody and talk, but great job. And leadership's the key to everything, right? It's our recruitment tool later for how they'll do in life, and hopefully have great jobs. So great job.
Okay. Board Member Bannister.
Yeah, I would reiterate, it's always great to hear the kids. And I just am always impressed how smoothly the kids from CECA do public speaking, because they have these opportunities, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So thank you. All right.
Okay, Board Member Debbie Miller.
That's just wonderful. The kids did great. I love that they're learning to speak in front of public. That's really good. And then the leadership of the 8th graders, what a great opportunity for them to learn to lead and care about their family. And then I love the community service aspect. So thank you for sharing, because I've heard you bring that up, Friday families, but now I understand that. And I did see you a lot on social media, CECA a lot on social media. Loved it. Congratulations on winning that. And thank you, as always, Mr. Gregory.
Board Member Coe.
Yes, congratulations on the kindness award there again. Yes, it was great to see them in action. They were one almost in their little groups. One young man was very aware of the spatial awareness. It's like, we should not have our backs to them. We should turn around. It's great to see that they're hearing what you guys are teaching.
Okay, all right. Thanks, everybody. We are adjourned. We're going to call to order the February 21st, 2023 board meeting for the Calumet Joint Unified School District. If you wouldn't mind joining us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. I'm glad we're not a choir.
We're in reverse.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, thank you, everybody. I will note that all board members are present this evening, including our student board member, Noah. Welcome, Noah. It's good to see you. And 3.04, approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No, presented as presented.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Some motion by board member Coe. Have a second?
Second.
Second by board member Bannister. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye. The motion carries. Now we do have a report out from closed session, and I'm going to read what happened. In closed session, the Board of Education took action on a motion made by board member Debbie Miller and a second by board member Kathy Cote, followed by a 5-0 vote to appoint Adam Johnson to the position of maintenance manager for the Calumet Joint Unified School District Maintenance and Operations Department. Congratulations, Adam. Come on up, say a few words and introduce that beautiful family probably too.
So thank you so much to the Board of Education for having me this evening. It's really a pleasure. And if I may just introduce my family that was able to make it in attendance tonight. My wife, Jenny, is really the inspiration behind all I do and the reason I work so hard to become a better person every day. So thank you, Jenny, for all your support. My daughter, Ellie. Just my daughter, Ellie, who currently attends kindergarten at CECA. And my daughter, Charlie, next to her, who will be attending kindergarten next year at CECA. So thank you so much. So I'm full of excited energy right now. And rather than completely hack what I want to say, I just prepared a few words. So if I may, I'll read those. So I would like to say that I'm very humbled and excited in this moment to have been given this opportunity to lead this maintenance and operations team to new heights. I'm looking forward to having some real conversations with employees around new and inventive ideas on how to continue and better our effectiveness and how we can implement programs that are aimed at developing skills and value in all of our employees. I would really like to thank everyone who took part in the interviews and decision-making process. By the way, I believe you've chosen wisely. And I'm prepared to work diligently every day to assure you of your choice. It really means a lot. It really means a lot to join what I consider to be a really great group of very smart individuals. And I'm really looking forward to doing my part in creating a community where every employee and student knows that they are valued. Thank you for this opportunity.
All right, thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Now we're moving on to 4.01, donation to the Yucaipa High School Drama Department and improvisation. Yeah.
Thank you, President Stillings.
Yeah.
We do have Sarah Gray, our phenomenal director for the Yucaipa High School Theater Program and for the improv. And so I believe she's got some people with her. And Sarah, would this be an opportunity for the board to take seats in the front?
Actually, we're not going to let the board take seats because we're going to make the board play.
Oh my goodness.
If you guys would all come up here, we're going to see what the actors you are. Hello again, I'm Sarah Gray. I'm the theater teacher at Yucaipa High School. These are the members of the improv team. Come on, guys.
Improv team has 30 members. We compete with other improv teams around Southern California. We have a really great time, but also it teaches a lot of really good life skills. Today we're going to demonstrate a game for you guys called Double Blind Freeze. So Blind Freeze is a really, really easy game where they're going to take two different sides. And so half of them will be on one side, half will be on the other. We're going to scramble the board members in with them. And they're going to do mini scenes based off of whatever position they're in. And so that's what we're going to do for you today. So we're going to scramble you. Yeah. You got people behind you to scramble that. Okay. Okay, so board members, the way this works is in this game, there'll be two of you up. There'll be one board member and one student for every single one of you. And you're going to move around in a position, and then you're going to start in a pyramid, start baseball. And then eventually I will say freeze, and you'll freeze in whatever position you're in, and the next people take your positions. The fun part about this is you don't get to see what people are, or if you do that. For the first round, I'll have two improvers come up so you can kind of see how it works. So let the board members turn around for the first round. So first round, I'll have Jocelyn and Kirsty come up to demonstrate, and then we'll have you turn around after that. Okay? All right. So from all of you, can I get a suggestion for an activity that you enjoy doing? That's probably outside. Gardening. What was that? Gardening. Gardening. Gardening is your suggestion. Can we get into gardening positions? Okay, players, are you ready?
Yes.
Begin.
Okay, can you help me with this? I don't think, listen, I found these magic beans and I'm not sure what they do, but they just say magic on them.
You know that like one nursery rhyme where it's like beanstalk. Yeah, probably tried that. In the ground, we'll bury them. We'll just freeze. Freeze. Cool. And then two other people are going to come in, tag them, take the same positions, but start in different scenes. So let's have May and Haley come in. And now the board members are going to turn around. We hold the puppy still right here in its gland where we can get a shot. Yep. Right, I got the camera. Here we go. Here we go. Let me get out the shot. Oh, you can get in the shot. Oh. Freeze. Freeze. All right. And we're going to you both take spots. Okay, you got the picture? I got the picture. Okay, so what pose do you think I should do next?
I think you should get on your knees. Kind of, yeah.
Like this? Freeze.
Yeah.
Freeze. Go ahead and take spots.
Okay, so something happens when we get up.
Yes.
Ladies, just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you push Hey, buddy, are you doing well? Yeah, he's around. Keep going. That's fine. Okay. Maybe if I just use
freeze.
Freeze.
It's really big. Where's the water?
No.
Hey, where are you going? You're going.
No. Hey.
Get over there.
Freeze. Freeze.
Yes.
And it says, I love you. What does that mean?
Oh my gosh, it means your boyfriend was there. You do have, you do
So how are you?
I'm doing so well. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. So I'm your teacher today. I'm on the floor because
Wait, Mr. Nolan, what are we doing today?
we are learning how to draw.
Oh, why? Why are we doing that?
Because it's an important life skill. So you gotta take the tape and you gotta take the.
Oh, I need to put a paint and use my hand.
No, we have a paintbrush and you just do. Wow, it's a masterpiece.
All right, can I start now?
Sure. Here you go. Here's the canvas.
Can I paint you?
No. No.
Freeze! Freeze!
You're the one that's only for me.
I'm not scary. If you enjoyed that, we have an improv game this Friday at the high school at 7 p.m. Improv team is actually playing ASB, so you get a chance to see both groups of kids in super class. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
This is our
Sure.
opportunity, Mrs. Gray, to thank your donors. And so would you please go up to the podium? And I know that that we have a great opportunity here to thank people who support your program. And as you know, Sarah Gray was one of our Teachers of the Year. And so we know that she's fabulous, but it takes fabulous people to also help the program. And so we want to pay tribute to you. Sarah, would you like to say a few words?
I would. So right next to me here, I have Tammy and Glenn Douglas, which I have been blessed to know for the past 9-10 years now. I've had all three of their children in my program, even had their oldest daughter in my history class when that existed. And they have been such an asset to me. Not only did I get to teach their wonderful children, but Tammy had me over and hashed out the concept of Thunderbird Theater. Their family and their business has been an integral part of the theater program at UPenn High School. And just having their support is the biggest gift I could have ever been given. So I want to say thank you.
President Kelly has a presentation he'd like to give to both of you, Mr. and Mrs. Douglas.
Okay, Glenn and Tammy Douglas. Certificate of appreciation presented to the LA Custom Pools and Spas Incorporated on behalf of Glenn and Tammy Lee Douglas, in recognition for your generous $10,000 contribution to the Cycle High School Drama Department and improvisation team. Your accomplishments could not be achieved without the generous support of donors like you. And Glenn and Tammy, thank you so much for your contribution to our kids. I really appreciate it. I know that Glenn's not here for a commercial, but he's a great pool builder. He's built two for me. So thank you so much for your contribution. It means a lot to us. I mean, $10,000 is just, it's really phenomenal. And without parents like you, we just couldn't do the things that we do. I know that it's great. Probably feels that way too. And Sandy would like to. Okay, go ahead, Sandy.
Okay.
All yours.
So this was a letter that we typed for Mrs. Gray and sent it with the check that was delivered by one of our 3 children that was in town over Christmas. I didn't know I was going to read this tonight. Okay. A note of thanks. It all started one day when Emily, who's now 24 years old, our oldest daughter, came home from school and announced that she was going to audition for the YHS spring musical, The Wizard of Oz. Before long, at that time, Miss Lindsay became a familiar name in the Douglas household conversations. As time went on, Miss Lindsay became Mrs. Gray, and YHS drama and the improv team became a huge part of the Douglas household. YHS Thunderbird Theater, Comedy Sports High School League, and you, Mrs. Gray, continue to influence our lives and most definitely so many others. Over the years of working with you, we watched you work tirelessly, going way above and beyond for your students and the drama and improv programs. We watched your husband, Alex, work alongside you, doing whatever needed to be done, and then your own children participating as well. It was countless hours of commitment and sacrifice for yourself and your family, yet it was clear how much you love your students and what you do. Even after watching many other professional live stage performances in Los Angeles, Pasadena, New York, and elsewhere, that would be me and Glenn, having attended those, it's impressive that your productions are so well done and could easily compete with these others in so many ways while making do with limited equipment, funds, and resources. You do exceptional work, and the hands-on education and experience these students receive on how an entire production happens in front and behind the scenes, those many valuable skills they can carry forward into their lives. Our 3 kids are proof of that. Writing about their experiences in drama and improv in their college applications, their job applications, working with others in various settings, and continuing on their own journeys in the performing arts. High school performing arts programs are notoriously underrated and underfunded, and despite that uphill battle, you remain inspired and determined to grow the drama and improv programs. We appreciate you and your unwavering efforts to make that happen at Yucaipa High School. We know what a difference that this has made in the lives of Emily, Zachary, and Gabriel, our 3 kids. We hope many others will continue to have that opportunity as well. We know you will put this money to good use. God bless you, Glenn and Emily Douglas.
Thank you, Ms. Douglas.
I'd like the board to come and support, and we're going to bring our students in as well. The real talent. Here. What have you been doing your co-ed? And yes, we'll put them.
Where do you want to come up? Cigarettes, quick. Do you want to speak to us before?
No, no.
We're on the side.
Is that there? Is everybody?
Yeah, Melanie, can you scooch in just a little bit?
I feel like
Sharon, Sharon, do you work for All right, everybody, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, folks.
So sweet. Sorry. Oh my God.
Okay, moving on, that was fun. Now we're going on to 4.02, Educational Services, the 8th grade career fair presentation. Dr. Anderson.
Thank you, President Snelling. So at this time, I would like to invite Mrs. Lafferty and also Mrs. Caricato. Thank you very much.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us here tonight. Good evening, President Snellings, members of the board, Superintendent Binks, and cabinet members. I'm Denise Lafferty, and I'm one of the counselors at Mesa View Middle School, and I am joined by Kim Caricato tonight. And we are going to be sharing a brief presentation with you about the recent career day that happened at Mesa View. So the first thing, though, that I would like to do is to recognize 2 people who are pivotal in the success of this event. They are from Yucaipa Rotary, Terry Knight and Karen Colby. So if they could please stand. There they are. We appreciate them so very, very much. They were instrumental in the success of this program. This day would not have happened without them. I think Terry has been part of this event since the beginning. Yes, how many? 6 years? Yes, so she's like a trooper, and and she led our team. Our team consisted of counselors and staff members from Parkview, Mesa View, CECA, Yucaipa High School, and the district office. We all pulled together to host the day where we had about 621 eighth grade students converge on Mesa View. They came from Parkview, Mesa View, CECA, PEP Plus. We had a few from PEP Plus. We did invite ILCS to come. Unfortunately, they weren't part of it this year, but we're hoping to capture them next year and have them be a part of it. So we had 621 happy eighth grade students come to Mesa View. We joined in the gym, and that's where we started, and we had a great kickoff. So the committee had a couple goals in mind for the day, and one of those was to get the right presenters, right? We don't want to have our students not gain the most they can from that day. So we really focused on what's happening at Yucaipa High School that we want the students to learn about. So the high school does have the academies. So we focused on getting presenters that were from law and public safety, health and biomedical sciences, engineering, and then we had a miscellaneous group that was also a part of that to try to tie in the academies into our career day. We also thought it was important to highlight what happens at Yucaipa High School. What are those opportunities? And so we had a session with all of our eighth graders where we focused on that. And then we also brought in Crafton Hills. We want them to know of the opportunities there. A lot of times in eighth grade, you don't necessarily know about Crafton Hills. Maybe you heard about it and you don't know much, but it's such a great university, a college for our students to go to. And so they learned about that for the first time, which was awesome. Another goal that we had was to give our students really the best experience that they could have that day. So we wanted to break them into smaller groups. So we actually had 25 groups of 25 students that traveled around and visited 5 sessions. It was a logistical, like, I don't call it a nightmare. It wasn't a nightmare, but it was like pretty crazy to get all these 25 groups of 25 kids moving around. But it happened, and we could not have done that with the help, without the help of Yucaipa Rotary, Mesa View's web and student council leaders, and the Yucaipa High School ambassadors and link crew. Those folks were instrumental in getting our students from place to place. They were our tour guides, and we are extremely thankful to them for helping us with the logistics of that day.
Good evening, everybody. It was an absolute honor to get to work with Denise and Terry and Karen and the whole Career Day team. They're a great, great group. The presenters during the day were fantastic. They made some really great connections with our students and allowed them to get some ideas about future careers. The presentations were diverse. They exposed students to various opportunities in entrepreneurship, coaching, health, public safety, engineering, and college options like Denise mentioned with Crafton. My favorite part was the community connections. I really loved how many of the presenters themselves have a personal experience with YCJUSD. They either attended YCJUSD schools themselves or their students currently attend. The whole event would not have been possible without the amazing organization of Denise and Terry. They're the 2 masterminds behind the thing. Support from cabinet, middle schools, Karen, Robert, Jeff from YHS, the tech team, the district tech team came out to make sure that all the presenters had what they needed to present their PowerPoints, and just the groups of students who escorted from session to session. Thank you, Rotarians, Mesa View web leaders, student council, YHS link crew, ROP ambassadors, and academy representatives for safely getting our students to each location. So you can see some of the presenters just looking up there off the top of my head. Natalie Martinez, we had a couple cancellations the night before due to illness, and she jumped in and said, yes, I'd be happy to present with less than 24 hours notice. The Munoz, Mr. and Mrs. Munoz, both of their students I believe, attend CECA, their parents. Crafton Hills, like we said, Crafton was there and it was really, really great. They were able to answer a lot of students' questions about the difference between community college, Cal State, UC, and the kids had a lot of great questions. Some more presenters, Melody Odell, she owns a photography business. She went to Calamasa Elementary, graduated from Yucaipa High School. We had Yucaipa Police Department there. The respiratory therapist had a mannequin. The kids came up and they did respiratory therapy things with the kids, which made my science teacher heart happy. So lots of really, really cool presentations. Heather O'Beer was there. She is our district nurse. Tyler Enders, he owns his own business and he is also a YHS graduate. And then of course, Superintendent Binks led our YHS opportunities. So these are just a snapshot of some of the presentations that we had. This next slide will show the tour guides. We have some of the Mesa View Student Council and web leaders on the left, some of our amazing Rotarians in the middle, and then on the far side over there, the YHS link crew, our OP ambassadors, and Academy students. So this was all possible, as Denise alluded to, all of the different staffs, we met monthly and collaborated as a team. The counseling staffs, the bus drivers, district personnel, cabinet, just thank you to everybody for supporting this. And then Abraham Lincoln says the best way to predict the future is to create it. And as a former T-Bird teacher, for me, it was really special to see the 8th graders show up and wear their name tags that no longer identified them as Mesa View, CECA, Parkview, or PEP Plus, but as soon-to-be T-Birds that were looking to creating their futures. Thank you.
Any questions, Noah?
I have a comment. I had the opportunity to go. My husband is a Rotarian, so I tag along to the parties, and I went to this too. And our daughter was a presenter, a well-oiled machine. Terry just really, this is nice. It's beautiful, the way it was organized. And I know that all of you worked so hard. It was really a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead, Nick.
Thank you. I just love this. This is amazing. I know in 8th grade, you don't exactly know what you want to do or be, but I appreciate that they get a little peek into different jobs that are available. When Ms. Binks, when you spoke, did you have an opportunity to talk about our academies and stuff too? Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you. It looked amazing. It looks really amazing what you guys did. I appreciate it.
Board Member Coe?
Just the same as what they're saying. It looked like a wonderful opportunity, and I look forward to seeing you there next year.
Thank you. I've been involved in these, and there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. So congratulations on that, and thank you to the Rotarians that are here. And I believe that we're going to recognize them right now.
So I would like to ask Terry Knight and Karen Colby to come forward. And I see Karen Colby has Kent Colby with her, and I know that both the Colbys are involved in our high school Interact Club. They do an amazing job working with our youth. So they don't stop at just the career fair. The Rotary Club is really involved in what we do here in YCJUSD. So this is in recognition for the Yucaipa Rotary Club for your 6 years of support and dedication and commitment to the district for hosting the Career Day Fair at Mesa View Middle School. And I know Mrs. Knight, being a former hospital administrator, Mrs. Colby being a restaurant owner, they both have administrative experience in a different way and have contributed in a great way. Rotary is made up of people that have done this kind of work. And so if you would take this back to our Rotary president, we would appreciate it. And then we have certificates for both of you. And I'm going to ask you to come. We're going to take a picture with you. So yes, our president's going to give them to you. We also want to have Ms. Caricato and Ms. Laffercade to join in the picture because it was definitely a team effort. I want to thank them for their presentation as well. So just in case there's no mistake, Terry Knight, raise your hand, please. There we go. Mrs. Colby, there we go.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
You can hold that.
Ready, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, now we're moving into Human Resources Counselor recognition. Mr. Stoltz.
Thank you, President Snelling. Thank you, members of the board, cabinet, and superintendent Binks. One of the joys of working in human resources is just recognizing the amazing hard work, dedication, and achievement of the people on our team at the district office in all of our schools. And in February in particular, we take time out to recognize the hard work of our counseling team, our site counselors, and our behavioral health counselors. The board may recall that the week of February 6th was National School Counseling Month. And at the January board meeting, the board passed a resolution in recognition of that. But this month, we want to kind of do a little extra level of thank you and support and appreciation for our counselors. The counselors are just immeasurably important for the work we do in our schools. As an administrator in the district, I can't tell you how many times my counselor saved me from doing something that maybe should have done a different way. So those individuals who work with me have really just been instrumental in not only me speaking as an administrator, but even the administrators that I stand up here representing. We all extremely value what our counselors bring to the team. So what we'd like to do tonight is, counselors, we are going to call you by name. If you were able to attend tonight, we'd ask you to come up. We have a special certificate for you. We have a very fancy going the distance rock star pin that we'd like to give you. And when we call your name, just like you all run all those award assemblies and you move the kids around, we're going to have you stand up here, if you don't mind. And board members, if I can have you come to the front and help me with this amazing thing, I would appreciate your help. Yes, I'll call her name. Right, so they're in alphabetical order, so you guys know what your last names are. So you know how this works. So if I can invite up Brenda Arevalo. Brenda. Taylor Beach. Jennifer Brosser. Natalie Brasher. Karen Brosty. Janet Curtis. Angelica Shadigi. Danielle Elgin. Elizabeth Ashenborg. Janet Gutierrez. Rebecca Islas. Marissa Kloppenberg. Lafferty. Tasha McQueen. Gina Myrena. Katie McKee. Marlena Miranda. Wendy Montgomery. Rafael Ocampo. Victoria Orozco Sapp. Michelle Pauls. Sochi Perez. Brittany Perez. Lisa Reyes. Cassie Samuel. Michelle Torres. Sarah Van Wardenberg. Tiffany Wagner. Lauren Wiley. And Diana Williams. You all are looking at an amazing team here. And before we take the photo op, just to recognize, we're looking at a team that supports students and families from preschool, from 3-year-old babies to adult school. So that's a huge impact on our schools and our community. Let's give this whole huge team a big, huge round of applause. So yes, we're going to have Lance rally you into a photo. How do we do that?
We're going to definitely have some of this. Instead of saying short losers, not as tall from the front. All right, shift things up below your face. Ready, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, now we're going to have one more recognition here for the Great Kindness Challenge, continuing our recognition from the earlier meeting. Ms. Binks.
Thank you, President Snelling. I would like to introduce Lance Bradley, our Public Information Officer, a kind gentleman he is, who created a kindness video for us to see, and it will announce our winners. And thank you to Mr. Bradley for spearheading and working through all of the technology that goes with the Great Kindness Challenge. We'll ask him to say a few words, and then he's going to play his video.
Thank you, Superintendent Binks. Good evening again, President Stillings, members of the board, Superintendent Binks, members of cabinet. So every single year we have the Great Kindness Challenge. We participate in the Great Kindness Challenge with millions of other people. And the way that we turn it into a competition is we turn it into a social media competition. So we created 2 hashtags that our schools across the district were supposed to use and post pictures all throughout the Great Kindness Challenge week. And it's a typical school spirit themed week. If you have students in school, I'm sure that you were dressing them up in PJs on Monday or expecting them to go to school in a tie. And so what we do is we encourage each of our schools to start posting, and then based on how many posts they have versus how many students they have, there's a percentage that comes out, and those with the highest percentage wins. And this year we had 3 winners, which last year we had 3 winners too, but prior to that it was only two winners per year. But I have the unique opportunity to go around to schools every single week, and the Great Kindness Challenge is the best week to go around because all the schools have different unique ways of showing kindness. Not that they don't throughout the rest of the school year, but it's also a great way for our teachers, our staff, and our administrators to have a little friendly competition. So throughout the week, principals are texting me wondering where they're at in standing so they can try to catch up with somebody else. We announced in the CECA board meeting that CECA was the winner, one of the 3 winners, and then we have this video to announce the other 2. And there are other 2 winners, Belmont Elementary and Green Valley High School.
President Sellers, I do believe that, I know Mr. Tucci is back there, and Allie Shrive is here, along with Christy Parker, her dean, and Mr. Mead. So they will be bestowed the Great Kindness Challenge banner with their name that they can hang in their school site, and to recognize that they were the winners. And so I'll give opportunity if any of you would like to say anything.
It is a great opportunity to find ways to demonstrate kindness and take action in our communities to just show how many good things are going on. So it's a great spotlight to have. Lance is right. There's always great things that are going on, and so anytime you can have a little spotlight on you to demonstrate that to the community is a great opportunity. So thank you, Lance.
At Dunlop, we had so much fun that week, and it was a team effort with our counselors, our dean, the TOA, and all the teachers and staff. And we are a small school, but we have a lot of heart, and it shines out. Thank you.
That's our district. Our district has a lot of heart. We're all connected. We're all family, and so this is a great way for all of us collectively to show who we are and what we do for our kids. So thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you, everybody. Congratulations.
Any comments or questions from the board?
All right, now we're moving on to our public comment section. I do have 2 public comments, and we'll start with Mr. Ron Dawson. Mr. Dawson, welcome.
Good evening, President Snellings. Good evening, rest of the school board members. Good evening to the Superintendent Binks, as well as the rest of the YCJUSD cabinet members. Sorry, I teach all day, but adults is harder. I don't know why I'm so nervous. I'm just here to thank you. I'm an 8th grade teacher at Competitive Edge Charter Academy. On behalf of YCEA, I want to thank you for coming to a fair settlement for the 22-23 school year that best exemplifies the hard work YCEA members put in each day and a compensation that they deserve. We know that you will vote in the interest of supporting your tireless employees. It's been a difficult past couple of years, but I'm shaking. But we have worked together, and we've seen countless examples of success and growth. This year has raised new challenges, and we know that there will be new challenges next year, but YCA looks forward to the continued collaboration between the school board, with the cabinet members, with our community out here in order to accomplish our collective goal, which is providing a quality education to our students within the YCJUSD system. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Appreciate it. Matt Carpenter.
Good evening, President Snellings, rest of the school board, Superintendent Binks and cabinet. I'm here tonight to say thank you, but I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story before I get to that. And recently, we've had a lot of activity at Yucaipa High regarding our wrestling. So it started about a year ago. They asked us if we'd host the CIF wrestling meet. And if you can imagine, we don't have a huge gym. We have a nice gym, but it's not huge. Bringing in 48 schools, roughly 1,000 people into our community and on a school day, into our gym, into our parking lots. So it started with asking about that. And we, of course, said, yeah, we'll make it happen. I've got a great coach. We can do this. We have community support. We'll pull it off. So we have the wrestling season this year, Win League, for the first time on the girls' side, as well as the boys. We won it for a few years on the boys' side, but I had one blank banner in my gym, and it was girls wrestling. We have a year to put on it this year. So that was very exciting. And that program is growing. Then we went into what's called CIF Duels, and it's a team competition of bracket deal. We were in Division I, which is the highest division. We were the 8th seed. We thought we'd be the 1st seed in Division II, and we ended up being the 8th seed in Division I. And we thought we were going to get crushed. The team went through and ended up going to that CIF final, finished as the CIF Division I runner-up, which was quite an accomplishment. Well, a really special event. We ended up getting beat. St. John Bosco was amazing. They recruited the best athletes they could get, and they beat us. But anyway, it was quite a showing by our team. Then we hosted the CIF event, which was massive, and it went very well. We finished 3rd in that event. Our girls finished 3rd in their event that same day. That then led to the Masters meet, and that was last weekend. We had 3 athletes qualify for state. Diego Costa, who finished 2nd in his group. Kevin Ramirez, who wrestled the Take 5 into the state meet, and he wrestled in a 5-6 matchup where loser goes home and winner goes to state. He's a senior. He won that match, which was exceptional. And then we have a girl going to state, Adri Rodriguez. And so leads me to why I'm here tonight. I was under the impression from my coach that we had filled out all of our paperwork to go overnight to state, and we did not. And I was going to have to be the guy who told Kevin Ramirez, who wrestled for his life as senior, to go to state, that he couldn't go. And Dan Jervis, my principal, I know Eric Freeman was involved. I don't know who all was involved, Superintendent Binks, and finally the board members. You guys are making it happen tomorrow with an emergency meeting to get my kids to state. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for bailing me out, making me not be that guy. It would have broken my heart, literally. But board member Bannister, board clerk Kathy Bocote, and board member Bob Miller, I think you guys are coming tomorrow night to help us get that approved. And I can't thank you enough for your support of our team. Again, a reminder of our community and how we help each other out. So thank you very much. And Superintendent Biggs, Dr. Raymond, thank you so much. Appreciate that. And Dan Jervis. That's all.
We're not going to put you the chicken wing or half Nelson or anything. You're okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that concludes our public comment. Thank you, Matt. Now we're moving on to our student board member report. Noah, welcome.
All right. Hello. All right, there you go. All right, there you go. It's so working. Have to sit close. Okay, so just generally starting off with sports, we got like basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, and tennis currently going. Our girls water polo was very successful in CIF, and one of the things I have listed, but we just got informed of right now, was the very massive opportunity for Yucaipa to host CIF. And congratulations to all the students who are making it to state and all their accomplishments. And as general other things, we had an improv game a little while back versus a YHS alumni coming back and playing the current improv team. We also have one coming up right now versus our school student body. We also have the opportunity for YHS to take part in a student advisory committee where they are presented with a series of issues that they get to choose which one they're most passionate on, and then working as a team to create a presentation that they will then, is this working?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can hear quiet. Okay. To present to like state lawmakers and legislators to hopefully get those things worked on and improved in our schooling. UKIPA had our spring rally, and we were also planning a spring dance. Going towards the end of the year, we also had the opportunity for the middle school students to come and visit the high school and see the opportunities that the high school has to offer, as well as for the parents of those students to come and visit YHS and ask any questions that they had and get a lot of stuff answered and improve their nerves of a lot of parents with students going into high school for the first time. A great opportunity that we have coming up soon is high school students are going to read to elementary school students on Dr. Seuss Day, which is March 2nd. And just lastly, spring break is coming up, so that's very exciting for students. That's about it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Noah. Any questions for Noah? Okay, thanks, Noah, for your report. I appreciate it. Now we're moving on to board report, Colton Redlands, UKIPA ROP, Ms. Bannister.
Yes. So I just want to report out it's CTE month. That's Career Technical Education. In the community, I'm often run into people who are like, why don't we do vocational education anymore? Well, this is it. And what I particularly wanted to report was that through leadership, Superintendent Tracy Zerpoli has worked with Mrs. Binks. And in January, we had a guest speaker, January 26th in the evening, April Rines, who wrote a book about flux, the 8 superpowers for thriving in constant change. And she talked about how our students will be the workers that have many different careers and very diverse careers, and that knowing how to deal with change is going to be something that they need to know how to do, and so do their employers. We also have coming up Dr. Kevin Fleming. Mrs. Binks arranged this. This is February 28th, and Dr. Fleming is going to speak on defining the goal, the true path to career readiness in the 21st century. And again, just focusing on how everything is changing and to be ready. This is open to the public. It's February 28th, 8 a.m. At Crafton Hills College, and we have flyers here on the dais if you are interested in coming. We have great opportunities for our kids, and this is an opportunity for the community to find out about the trends.
Thank you, Ms. Bannister. Appreciate it. Okay. Now we're moving on to our discussion and action session. Are there any changes to the agenda as it's been presented?
No, sir.
Okay. The first item is 9.01. This is the California School Board's Associate Delegate Assembly election. So our board gets 6 votes as a board, and we have 6 candidates. So I'd like to make a motion that this board provide 1 vote for each of the candidates that have been presented if there's nobody that's in opposition to that.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. So I made the first motion. I got a second by Board Member Bannister. We're going to supply 1 vote for each of the delegates that represent our area. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Our next one is a second review of a board bylaw related to the president. I have a motion to approve as presented.
Motion.
Got a motion by Board Member Debbie Miller and a second by Board Member Bannister. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We're moving on now to the second review for the board policy 9122 related to the secretary. Do I have a motion to approve that? A motion by Board Member Coate and a second by Board Member Miller. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, motion carries. We're moving on to another second review for the board, filling vacancies, board bylaw 9223. I have a motion to approve.
Move approval.
Board member Bannister in a second. Second by board member Miller. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Motion carries. Now we're moving to 9.05. I hear rustling over in the corner. I think that Dr. Raymond's making it up to the podium. This is going to be a board action item to approve the comprehensive school safety plans from our schools. But we are combining this with a presentation tonight related to school safety and some of the things that we have in place.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Snellings, members of the board, Mrs. Biggs. I'd like to invite up my co-presenters, Mr. Bud Updike. He is a school psychologist currently at Ucaipa High School. So Mr. Updike's here, as well as over here somewhere. And then Dr. Lingenfelter, as you know, from the district offices here. Tonight, every year we bring forth the school safety plans for board approval, but we also thought it was a good opportunity to share what we're doing in overall school safety, not only on student behavior side, some preventive education, as well as some general safety measures. So we will start with Mr. Updike, and he's going to share a little bit on student behavior.
Welcome, Mr. Updike.
Thank you. Yeah, nobody told me that we were going to follow improv, so this is a little different topic, I guess. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about preventative behavioral threat assessment and what we're doing at Ucaipa High School, and specifically give you kind of an overview of what it is, but also what it isn't. So I wanted to introduce John Van Driel. John Van Driel was a school psychologist in the Salem-Kaiser School District. And on the heels of Columbine 1999, he developed a threat assessment protocol. So he's been doing this for a long time. He is now one of the preeminent people in behavioral threat assessment. So over the summer, I read a book. It had made reference to what he had done and figured that it is something that we needed to adopt at the high school for sure. So this is a flow chart of how the system works. So it starts with an incident or a concern. So if there's a behavior or a verbalization that threatens somebody's safety, well-being, and specifically threatens violence, one of the first things we do is in the purple section. So we meet informally with the administrator, with law enforcement, in this case, the SRO, and it's been myself, but it could be any mental health professional. So it could be a behavioral health counselor, it could also be the school counselor. But we meet informally to determine whether or not the student poses a threat, and if it's unfounded, then it's dismissed at that level. So there's a lot of things that we deal with at the high school that really constitute typical youth behavior. So if it's unfounded, it ends there. But on the other hand, that if there's reason to suspect that the student may pose a threat, it goes to what we call a level 1 assessment. Again, that's a trained administrator and threat assessment, school-based mental health professional, and again, the SRO. We can also enlist parents or teachers if it's ideal in the realm of special education. If it's a special education student, then we also enlist a case carrier. And we work through a protocol, a template that consists of about 20 questions related to risk factors. Based upon those findings, that this is an intervention or supervision kind of intervention. So it's not necessarily a punitive system, but what we're looking to do is catch kids in distress and intervene at that level. If the student poses a rather or a more serious concern, or if we feel that there aren't adequate interventions that are available, or alternatively that we can't supervise the student adequately, then it would go to a level 2 assessment. A level 2 assessment is different from level 1 in the sense level 1 is a site-based, level 2 is community. Right now, we do not have that community-based kind of assessment team, but that might include people like South Coast Community Services, the city of Yucaipa, the sheriff's department. That's something that there are discussions and we're working towards that end. But again, at each level, whether it's level 1, level 2, that the concentration is on intervention and supervision. If you go to the top, that law enforcement is also involved in 2 respects. One of them is a criminal investigation, but on the other hand, law enforcement has access to information that schools don't. So there's an interchange of information between law enforcement and the level 1 assessment team or the level 2 assessment team. If you go to the black section, if the threat is imminent, obviously we're not moving towards doing a threat assessment, that we're locking down, that there's an immediate safety precaution. So one of the things about the Salem-Kaiser Cascade system, there are a number of benefits. It's multidisciplinary, multi-agency, it's collaborative, there's shared ownership, shared responsibility, decreased liability. So it's not one person making this decision, but it's a collaborative effort. So even though the administrator is in charge of school safety, that when we meet, it's a collaborative effort to determine what needs to be done and when. Also involves equity language, checks and prevents implicit bias or bias of any form. It's very methodical, so we work through the protocol and the template. It's also expeditious. So in general, when we do an assessment, it would take between 20 minutes and an hour and a half. Each one's probably a little bit different depending on the availability of information. It's also user-friendly. So there's simple, clear language, identification of risk in clear terms. It's inexpensive. Again, it's intervention and supervision based. So we're looking for strategies that fit the situation and accurately address the risk. It's inclusive, so not exclusive. In other words, it's promoting connections in school, and we observe and supervise. It also is prevention and early intervention based. So like I said earlier, it's not punitive. It's not a gotcha kind of system. And then finally, it increases physical safety and psychological safety of not only the community, but the school itself, and particularly teachers. That if they understand that there's a system in place that we're making the decisions, it's not just sending students back to their class without something happening. So they understand that. Okay, so what are the threat assessment system objectives are to assess threats of potentially harmful or lethal behavior and determine the level of concern or action, and then organizing resources and strategies to manage the situations involving threatening situations that pose a risk of harm to others, and then maintaining that sense of psychological safety. The level 1 site-based protocol identifies key risk factors as well as supervision strategies that all members of the team use to guide during the assessment. Each and every case is documented using that template. And then finally, we're also documenting the risk concerns and the plan for supervision and safety. So when would we do a level 1 assessment? So if the threat, aggression, or violence is specific to the identified target with a motive and plan, when it's also causing considerable fear or disruption to activity, student brings a weapon to school or attempt to bring a weapon, there's a continued intent to carry out a threat, there's a history of threats, aggression, or violence, or staff, parent, or student perceives threatening circumstances. And finally, if the administrator is unable to determine if a situation poses a risk to school personnel or the community. So it's used rather liberally. So when in doubt, do the assessment, proceed with the level 1 assessment. this kind of makes the point. So what are we doing with the threat assessment process? So essentially, we're differentiating between what is called reactive aggression or targeted aggression. So the cat on the left is a great example of reactive aggression. That cat is cornered by a huge Rottweiler, and you can see that his hair is standing on end. He's hissing and growling. He's showing his teeth. His claws are out. That he's in a heightened emotional state. On the other hand, if you look on the other side, that the cat there is stalking a bird. That cat is not announcing that it's about to kill the bird. That is very stealth-like. So it's making itself small, non-threatening. The heart rate is down, and he's being rather sneaky. If you were to pick up the cat in a reactive mode, that you're probably going to get scratched or bit. Okay. On the other hand, if you pick that cat up that's more in a targeted or predatory mode, he's going to look at you strange, but then want to go back to what he's doing. So we're looking more at targeted kind of aggression. Reactive aggression is more, it is high frequency, low impact. In other words, the vast majority of incidences that we see in schools is going to be that kind of reactive aggression. It's very impulsive. It's very emotionally driven. On the other hand, targeted aggression is very low incident, obviously high impact. So targeted violence is really characterized by what we call pathway behaviors. So it starts with a grievance, ideation, there's research planning involved, there's pre-attack preparation and planning, and then finally there's a scheduled or triggered implementation of the violent act. Obviously, the sooner that we can intervene with students in this process, the better. So why wait just before there's going to be a triggered implementation when you can address it at the grievance level? So really what we're doing, I think, amounts to response to intervention behavior in the sense that it's identifying kids in need that are in distress, and it's coming in with intervention supports for those kids. And then you're monitoring the effectiveness of those interventions over time. So it's really analogous to RTI. So what we're really assessing, we're not assessing the individual. This is not a mental health assessment, but you're really assessing the dynamics between the potential perpetrator and the potential victim. So in that sense, again, it comes down to, does the student pose a threat, or did that student make a threat? We're seeing a lot of students making threats at this point, but you still need to check that out and see what you're dealing with. Okay, so here's where we are so far. That all the administrators, school counselors, and the SRO at the high school have received 8 hours of behavioral threat assessment training. All the psychologists in the district have been similarly trained. The behavioral health counselors will be trained by Melissa Bashencourt, behavioral health counselor. The teachers at Kaiba High School have all received information associated with targeted violence and behavioral threat assessment. We did that at a staff meeting one morning. And we utilized the behavioral threat assessment level 1 protocol 3 or 4 times this year already. So each time that I notice that we're getting better at it. So it's like anything, practice makes perfect.
Mr. Albrecht, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you give us an example of what some of those 4 incidents were this year that initiated this process?
Right. So the one we had early on in the year was a student that said to the PE instructor that I'm going to be famous. And she said, well, what do you mean by that? And the student's response was, you know what I mean by that.
Okay.
Okay, so it was a veiled threat.
Yeah.
And we needed to look into that a little bit further. But, yeah, so the incident of concern may be verbal or it may be behavioral. In that case, it was a veiled verbal threat.
Now, is this process used for students who might be injuring themselves also, or is that a different?
That's a different process.
Okay.
Yes. So this is not suicide prevention.
Okay.
Yeah, this is exclusively behavioral threat.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And then finally, again, like I said earlier, discussions are ongoing to develop the level 2 assessment team, community-based team. So we've had preliminary discussions towards that end. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, let's see. Any questions from the board regarding Mr. Updike's presentation, this piece?
Not his piece. I'm gonna have questions.
Okay.
Too.
Okay, that's fine. That was a fine job, Mr. Updike.
Yeah,
you might have to reconsider your retirement tonight on the agenda.
We're got out.
I think Ms. Bannister might have a comment or a question.
Well, I just want to say I'm really heartened. That's maybe the wrong word, but we have a plan. So it's proactive, not reactive. That we have, and it's because it's a system. It's not based on what somebody feels about a particular kid. So that's nice.
It is very, very systematic. Yeah, it's not one person. And I've been in that position where it was my decision, is this kid dangerous or not? And it is not a good position to be.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's good.
Okay. I think we have another question, but
I was just wondering, are we planning on any further education to follow this up right here?
Yes. So right now that I mentioned all the psychologists are trained, the plan right now is for the psychologists now to train at their school sites. So the people that would be trained should be the administrators at the school site. That would include deans, the mental health counselors are going to be trained, and then the school counselors at those school sites as well. So yeah, that's where it all starts.
great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I think we got Dr. Biefeld now. Tyson.
Thank you, President Sellers. Good evening. Also, good evening to the board members, as well as Superintendent Dix and members of the cabinet. I'm here tonight to share some information about tobacco use prevention education, or TUPE. Those of us who have been around public education for quite some time are familiar with TUPE. It's been around since I was a student in school, and I'm not going to tell you how long that was. But I remember it being so very effective in its ability to convince us as youth about the dangers of specifically cigarette smoking at that time and other tobacco use. Now, of course, things have shifted, and so now the education component of TUPE has shifted along with it. We are participating in that TUPE grant and implementation at 5 of our school sites that you see the representative. There.
My bad.
And that represents our secondary schools in the school district. So what is the TUPE program? The TUPE program is a competitive grant. The grant manager is the San Diego County Superintendent of Schools, and we participate in that grant as one of 5 other districts that you can see listed out there. The grant started in 2020, and the first year of the grant cycle went into 2023. Like so many other things that happened in 2020 into 21, we got off to a little bit of a slow start, and we're doing our best to make it grant at this point. We did recently inform county schools of our interest to rejoin in the next grant cycle for 22-23 and into 2026, so that we can continue with the momentum we feel like we're starting to develop now. TUPE prevention is not just about tobacco itself. We all know how prevalent vaping is throughout society, and there's a very, very strong emphasis on vaping and marijuana as well. That's something that any secondary administrator, whether it's UCAP, Kalamazoo, or any other school district, can tell you. Kids' exposure to that stuff's on the rise. Their use of it's on the rise. So we are very interested not only in effective supervision and response strategies, but as well to incorporate prevention strategies, which is what TUPE provides for us. Next slide, please. So what are some things that we are getting out of this participation in this TUPE grant? One of the things that's a nice free resource is the Stanford Tobacco Prevention Toolkit. The name's a little bit misleading in my opinion because it does discuss marijuana as well. It is a curriculum that can be implemented in our schools. County Schools has provided training on the use of the toolkit over the last several years. Several of our staff members have participated in that training. It's a free resource available to anybody. You can go online, Stanford Tobacco Prevention Toolkit, and get more information there. Education presentations. I can tell you one story in particular. I know Mr. Tucci's in the audience this evening, but he had a parent night where Corey from County Schools came with her team and presented to several parents at Green Valley High School about the dangers of vaping, in particular marijuana use. Mr. Tucci was able to use that event strategically and invite purposely certain students and their parents, and we received some very good feedback, really words of appreciation from those parents, and having that next voice, that educated voice, that informed voice, be able to talk to their kids about the dangers of what they're doing and how it could negatively impact the developing teen brain. So that was a real highlight. Another highlight I'd like to point out to go along with what County Schools has been working to do in providing alternatives to suspension and student education, not just parents and community, is what's the word escaping me right now? Prevention strategies. Thank you. YVAPE is one that has been recommended by county folks through TUPE. I had a very good conversation with Mr. Perez, assistant principal over at Mesa View Middle School, who's been referring to that program, getting a lot of good feedback from parents, and also reports that recidivism is down quite a bit when he does refer families to that program. It's one of those where the student and the parent are invited to participate together. It is done online, and YVAPE communicates back to us about completion and progress thereof. And then trying to continue to work with ways to put out the word in the community through all of our schools, which brings me to my next slide, which is what I've seen as the highlight so far, and that is our peer leader training. County Schools came out and did 3 separate peer leader trainings in YCJUSD. They trained our middle schools, and you see a picture there of Mesa View and Parkview leadership students being trained as peer leaders to get the word out about the dangers of vaping and marijuana use. We also had several trainings at Yucaipa High School, as well as bringing our alternative high schools together for a third training. We felt that it was important to be in a smaller group and have that age-specific support, as well as recognizing some of the differences between what goes on in our comprehensive schools and the needs that students have there versus the needs of alternative high school students. So we felt that was very effective. The data that you see in the 2 bottom bullets, that's exit survey data from the kids who participated in the trainings. They felt very confident about that. And in each school, there were some different lunchtime activities where they typically what you would see is you'd see the table at lunchtime with the peer leaders out there handing out information and talking about the dangers of vaping and marijuana use, and using the resources that the county schools have provided us through the 2 program, whether it be pamphlets, posters, or what have you, to get the word out. So I really appreciated the way that training was structured, the voice that it gave our students. They're not going to listen to me. They're going to listen to each other. And that peer leader program and the training that was provided gave the students the tools, the voice to be able to be heard. So we continue to work in this, not only response, effective supervision, but also prevention education. So I'm very excited that we can re-up in this grant opportunity and continue to grow this program in our schools. Questions?
Questions from any board members? Board member Bob Miller.
Just real quickly on that, on the grant money that's available, obviously through the county, it seems like it's just more for training. There's not an enforcement arm to it. It's more about training, and then maybe trying to convince parents to come to some of the training too. And you said use some creative ways to maybe Mr. Tucci did to get parents there that may need to hear this. It's a major issue, but it seems like it's just money spent on training and meetings. What else can that money be spent on?
Well, we feel it's more of the words get into the heads of the kids they're able to use their voice, we feel like it's very important, and we want to be able to support that, follow up with that, and the continued development. Another piece to it that we feel is going to play a big role are those alternatives to suspension. So if we have a student that may be with a first offense, and we can communicate with their parents and get them to attend, for example, the YBA. Another prevention strategy or intervention strategy that I failed to mention earlier was a brief intervention training, which is going on this month that I know several of our counselors are going to be participating in. And so it's that active response that from the perspective of learning why it's dangerous, learning why it's it's not a good idea to do that to your developing brain. Really is the direction that I see us going in. There's an enforcement piece that we do already. We have a good relationship with our school resource officers. We feel like we're able to respond as necessary to those things. Really, it's the same kids doing it over and over again, and trying to find new ways to get through to them that there's a better way. There's a healthier lifestyle.
Tyson, can the money be used to pay for positions?
There is money that's available for stipends for two-pay site leaders.
Okay.
So we do have that employees that are identified at one of each school site. We have our community liaison and our alternative education gets both, because she does such an amazing job that I didn't want to not include her and have her leadership and organizational talents involved. But that stipend is part of the grant that's administered by county schools for each school that we do have.
So the money is pretty restrictive then, related to the tobacco and the vaping piece and the marijuana piece, and it's primarily for training and for maybe some curriculum.
It's very specific. It's orchestrated and managed by county schools that we're partners with, and so I've had several opportunities to provide feedback to county schools and their team about effectiveness and what we'd like to see. But the short answer to your question, Mr. Snows, is yes, it's pretty much.
Okay, and how much money do we get through the grant?
That information I do not know.
Okay.
I certainly report on it.
Okay.
President Snows, just one last thing. Is there a way to maybe first or second time offenders to work this programming in where they have to attend, parents sign the waiver and everything else, that's part of their reentry plan or it's part of the plan, so if they have any other discipline issues, they at least pass this. Is there a way to work some of this in? Because honestly, offenders are going to do what they're going to do. And, you may have some people that want to change, to see the light and want some help, and the parents want to help. But you're asking them to go to training. You're asking them to, will you attend? There doesn't seem to be an enforcement arm other than I know there's some things we can do.
The best comparison I can probably make to answer that question is traffic school.
Yeah, there we go.
If you don't want to point on your driving record, go to traffic school. If you don't want a suspension on your record as a first-time offender, take advantage of this learning opportunity.
It's probably some policy issue, I assume. I don't know if I had to go down that road, but since I'm the new guy, I just think you have to have some bite to whatever you're doing. And if you don't, if there's no consequences, then things just go on as they go on. And this is a marker to see where our students may start having some trouble in life if they don't get this squared up right away. And you know that. I mean, you know that.
Yes, sir, I do. And our suspension data supports that there's some enforcement going on. One of the things I tell our new administrators is that there's what you do to them and there's what you do for them. And the enforcement, the consequences, that's what we do. That's part of our responsibility to maintain safe and orderly campuses. But what we do for them is what happens when they re-enter, or they have an opportunity to seize upon an intervention when we see it. And that's where I believe the learning takes place.
All right, thank you. I think we got Dr. Freeman now.
Thank you so much. So we've heard a little bit about prevention piece. We really thought that was important. we talk about student safety and campus safety, it is so expansive. Our number one priority should be, when students come to our campuses, we want them to be safe, as well as the adults who work on our campuses. So I'm going to share a few more general safety, school safety information pieces. So tonight, you have before you the comprehensive school safety plans that comes annually. Those are reviewed by our school resource officer, and that's up there too. We have one school resource officer for our district that reviews our safety plans. This year, we have actually started last year, contracted with a San Bernardino County Sheriff SWAT officer to do our site threat assessments and GPs for our schools. So he comes in on the weekend and looks at our sites from an active shooter standpoint and gives us feedback on what we could do to make all of our schools a little safer. This year also the board in the fall approved grid mapping of our schools, and what that is you have a map of the school and you put a grid over it, and it's a coordinate plane. So if we're all talking about the same areas of campus, so instead of just the maps, and the school maps currently are in various conditions, and so this map will be an outlay of the school, and so it'll be cordoned off. So let's say there's a fire at A5. So not only could the school know where A5 is on the grid map, law enforcement would know, the fire department would know, so everyone talks about the campus in the same location. Our first responders will all have those with them, so they'll be able to immediately approach the school and identify areas of need on the campus. We are very fortunate to have Lucia Huddick consult with us. She's a former administrator in our district, but she's also a community, statewide, and local CERT trainer, community emergency response team trainer. So this year, with the board's support and the commitment to safety funds, we have redone or improved all the site safety bunkers at every single site. And so that's a huge project. We're excited about that. And then we also, working with our consultant from the SWAT team, we have law enforcement ready kits in the office with different tools and items to help support us in the event of emergency.
What kind of tools, Eric?
Yeah, so we're gonna tools to be a little general here. For entering areas on campus, supporting students in life, different life stages, and those types of things. We'd like to be a little general on that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you. So training safety is all about training, and so I went through CERT several years ago. I feel like I need to do a CERT refresher. It's all about training. So for years we've done our monthly elementary school fire drills. We've done our earthquake drills. We've done all those things, and so we are very good at fire drills and those things. So, but what we also have in play are the active shooter training at all of our schools. This year, we'll have had AED training and EpiPen and also Narcan training for school personnel, specific school personnel. Aludo, also our online system, provides professional development and social and emotional well-being. The Great Shakeout, we have the annual Great Shakeout. It's a district-wide earthquake drill. And this year, we also sent several team members to the Joint Regional Intelligence Center training, JRIT. And that also talks about how do you look at your site from a site assessment, threat assessment. So we have internal people who went and be able to support us in looking at our school sites. Just a big proponent of the Community Emergency Response Team CERT. We have many of our administrators as well as certificated and classified personnel have gone through there, as many as community members. So CERT really is community-wide. How are we, in our comprehensive school site safety plans are modeled after the CERT model. And so this is great for the community, this is great for our schools. And it helps us speak the same language around emergencies. We have a district-wide and school site safety committees. Out of that, this year came, the board approved at the last board meeting, our buckets and backpacks. There was a need that came to the district safety committee saying, can we have a standardization across the district for our classrooms? And so we did that. And thank you for the board's support on that. We also have a student services crisis response team. So if there's a crisis on campus, we can deploy different teams at different sites and
This is a model that came out of Colton Joint Unified School District. We had a crisis on one of our campuses. And actually, their team came to support us in the repair model. And so now we have trained a trained team with the help of Mr. Stoles when he was in student services leading that. And so we have a crisis response team that can deploy to school sites in large numbers. Physical safety features, once again, with the support of the Board of Education for committed safety funds. This summer we'll have some fencing projects to bring up some of the fencing. We have some low fencing across the district. Electric door entries are at every school site except for district office, and we have a couple more school sites. But if you go to 95% of our schools, you'll have a door entry system. Door viewfinders are being installed, and then we are now designing a district-wide camera system for all of our school sites, as well as all of our departments. Some network infrastructure upgrades we've done is that every phone in the district will be able to call. If you're at a school site, you'll be able to make a lockdown call from your classroom. So you won't have to call the office. You'll be able to pick up the phone and make a lockdown call. Also, what's new is we have internet-based phones. And so if you call 911 in the past, you wouldn't know where that phone was located. It might be a certain grid, but now all of our phones are specific to where they're located on campuses. So if someone makes a 911 call, they can locate that. Shad Kirkland and his team in technology have really been a huge asset for these phones. These phones are computers, and so we're going to use the most out of them as we can. And then, cybersecurity, cyber safety. We're moving to hosted services where the servers don't live in our buildings, but they live. For example, Aries, our student database system, now is a hosted service off our school site, and so it's backed up 24/7. If we were to go down some sort of cybersecurity incident, we'd be able to get right back up. So technology's done a great job in moving this direction. And then student wellness, Mr. Updike and Dr. Lingenfelter shared a lot on this also on student well-being. But we do have Care Solace, if you're familiar with that. Anyone in the community, actually, any student or anybody can call in and get services for free in most cases to support their well-being. We do signs of suicide training at our secondary schools. We have not only first aid, but we have mental health first aid that we train in. And then Stop It. Stop It, the board approved several months ago as our incident reporting system. As of today, we have over 100 reports from Stop It, and the administrators in the audience know. Cabinet actually gets an update also, depending on the level of severity. And we've seen that be extremely helpful. It started on January 17th, and that evening we had a significant issue on a Stop It, and working with the principal, we're able to address it before school started on Monday. So
is it an app on your phones?
It's an app on our phones. We get emails, texts. Principals also get emails and texts. And one of the biggest things that we invested in was 24-hour monitoring. So if the principal doesn't get it, cabinet, there's an order of cabinets that have to go through all four of us, but then it would go to law enforcement. So there's never, someone's always answering and someone's always able to respond 24/7, 365. So we have that back. We've been able to stop the cabinet for most of the time. Mrs. Binks, the first one they called, so I think she knows them the best, but it actually has been an incredible tool, and we can see what's reported, and it's been an incredible tool for students and for families, and it's been great.
So what are some examples of what's been reported on Stop It?
So the majority, we looked at percentages, the majority have been bullying or cyberbullying. Yeah. So that number is 20 out of 100. Yeah. The next is disruptive behavior. Then there are students who are reporting vaping in the bathroom with specific people, and now they can anonymously report. They can say, hey, someone's vaping in the bathroom, someone's smoking marijuana in the bathroom. They can give a name, they can give descriptions, and now it's anonymous. So bullying, cyberbullying was number one, around 20. Vaping was around 20, and then it goes much smaller in an array of different areas.
Okay, thank you.
And that's all we have. So three of us would be happy to answer any questions or any comments.
Board Member Coe, any questions? Board Member Debbie Miller.
Thank you so much, all three of you. That was really informative. I appreciate it because I know that we set aside this money for safety, and to be able to see where it goes, I really appreciate it. Thank you for the presentations. Very informative.
Board Member Bannister.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, thank you.
Board Member Bob Miller.
Eric, this will be for you, and thank you for your time. Obviously, I spent some time going through the emergency operation plans for every school, and I'll tell you why. You're definitely in line with the incident command system. You're in line with SEMS and NEMS. Them are familiar terms in the industry of how our staff is aligned to take care of any emergency. So I was pleased to see that it was more in depth than I thought. So I want our parents and our staff to know there's some good work that's been done here. That EOC organizational chart, though you call it CERT, but it really is your EOC and how you're going to run things, is the organization the way it's supposed to be run in the event of emergency. So, and all the school site plans look great, and I thought they were done really well. I like that we had a piece in there about the AED, how to use that, and here's our reporting if something happens. In light of what happened with the Buffalo Bills player, that's a big thing right now, AEDs, but how important that is. And training, you said it. Dr. Freeman, you said it, training. I don't know what our annual training looks like yet. I'm sure we're going to do some kind of an active shooter training or something. Two reasons you want to do that. Number one, for funding, if something happens and we need to recoup some dollars, we have to show we trained. And number two, that we have a policy that's in line with, SEMS and NEMS of the ICS system. Therefore, you can recoup money if you have to use it for a situation. I'm sure we'll be aligned with the city if it's a major emergency on our campuses. Hopefully, we're working together with the city. I know they got great folks over there, and that will work. But really, really good. I didn't know what to expect when I saw the safety presentation, but I think you're hitting the areas where you need to hit on. Okay, here's our threat assessment. If something happens, here's what we're going to do. Whether it's an actual threat or it isn't, here's the different levels we're going to go to, and here's the keystrokes of how we get to where we get. So I want our parents and our staff and our students to know that that's in line. The emergency operating plans look good. Let's make sure we're doing the training to codify that every year that we trained on such a date, and this is what we did. And partner with the city. Thank God we have a great sheriff's department that works with us on these things. And I just think that it was impressive that all the school sites they're dialed in. Now, we hope we never have that, high risk, low frequency event. The thing that can happen when you least expect it. You can't prevent everything clearly, but plans are in place to deal with stuff as they come up. And there's people that are tied to responsibilities of what they're supposed to do. And that's key. The only other thing is you got to do redundancy, because if somebody's out, they're on vacation, they're sick, whatever, we have to have redundant people to be able to handle some of that. And then I thought, a lot of things on this. The only other thing I looked at when I was looking at the staff reports was the assessment of school crime at the high school specifically. And, if you really look at the numbers that I saw from 21-22, it really mirrors 2017, 2018. Obviously, 2021, we didn't have anything because of COVID, but I don't know how the numbers compare to the rest of the school districts around us. It doesn't look too egregious, quite frankly. Their incidents are reported and they're handled. When we get to board member comments, I will be asking for a study to be done by our superintendent and staff on funding additional SROs, because you even see in the component, you have SROs involved, and then we have the other campus security piece that I think is critical. If we can put all that together, we're going to have a great safety program for our community and our students and our staff and everybody else. So in the event something happens, we're going to be able to respond effectively. And then, of course, we'll always have lessons learned afterwards, right? But I'm very confident with the report I saw. Thank you, you three, for working on that and putting that together. It was impressive.
Thank you, Board Member Miller. I want to echo Bob's comments too. All three of you did a great job. And I was trying to think of the adjectives that come to mind for me. And I think one is encouraged and one is comforted, knowing that a lot of these things are in place. And so I want to thank you, Bud and Tyson and Eric, for your contributions to this. I think our kids are in good hands, and Like I said, it's very encouraging, so thank you. Okay, so we do have a board item related to this, and that would be the approval of the comprehensive school safety plans as presented by each of our schools. Do I have a motion to approve the comprehensive school safety?
Bob Miller moves to approve that.
Okay, got a motion by Bob Miller. Have a second?
Second.
Okay, got a second by board member Cope. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, motion passes. Now we're going on to a resolution related to a comprehensive energy conservation program. And I'm excited about this too. Is there a motion to approve this before we have any discussion?
I'll move approval.
Okay, got a motion by board member Bannister.
Second.
Second by board member Miller. Any questions or comments? Debbie Miller. Any questions or comments?
He's gonna is he gonna tell us everything? So we I have many questions. I just don't know what they are. So tell me something.
Well, I think we're adopting a resolution tonight to approve an agreement with this NG Services to start developing a comprehensive solar plan, basically. So is that correct, Eric?
Yeah, if it's okay, I'd just like to say a few things.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll let you, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. President Snellings, members of the board, Mrs. Bing. So this evening, I just asked Nancy Rohrbaugh to come speak from NG Services. She's just going to share a little bit about their company. We did we sent out a request for qualifications. We received 4 proposals. We did an interview process, a comprehensive interview process, and NG Services was the ones who came out on top. So tonight is just a resolution to join in a partnership with NG Services. There will be many, many more opportunities that hopefully I get to come forward and share about the possible energy savings that we all need to look at. And you'll see later in the board agenda the adoption of hopefully a bid for the HVAC at the gym. We will need this more than ever. So just want to introduce Nancy Rohrbaugh just to say a few things about it.
Welcome, Ms. Rohrbaugh.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board, superintendents. Appreciate the opportunity to come in once again. I'm Nancy with NG, and I just wanted to share a few little tidbits about NG and answer any questions you might have. And NG, actually, NG has, it's a global company. It's been in existence in business now for more than 150 years. And here in California, our staff has been designing and implementing energy conservation programs for public sector clients for almost 50 years. We have implemented programs for more than 70 California public school districts, also county offices of education, municipalities, some obviously here in San Bernardino County, San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools, Barstow Unified, Rim of the World, where your current director of facilities, Dennis Klein, currently works here now, but he's familiar with our staff. He met a couple of them today on Thursday. So he's familiar with our work. Actually, down the road, we are in the second phase at Moreno Valley Unified. We completed 5 phases of work at Rupa Unified, and I could go on and on. We're actually in design over at Yucatan Valley Water District, so we have extensive experience. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about NG, and I'm very excited tonight. I just had to bring this gentleman in. He is our lead design engineer and project manager for this particular program. He lives here in Yucatan. He grew up in Yucatan. His mother lives in Yucatan. He's raising his family here. And so, you know, he has firsthand experience with the schools. He attended the schools. His children will attend the school. So not only am I very, proud to be up here representing NG, and we will design and implement an outstanding energy conservation program for you, but I know this gentleman too, Jacob Doherty, he's all in with you guys. So if you have any questions, we're happy to answer.
All right, we're glad to hear that. Ms. Rohrbaugh, thank you for being here. Jacob, any questions? I would just like to say that reading through the document is very impressive, and obviously, as you mentioned, you work with a lot of school districts in California, probably throughout the United States, my guess. But I was also impressed. I don't know to what extent this actually happens, but I saw opportunities for students in some of our academies, like our STEAM academies, to participate in some types of activities related to an energy conservation program. I just think that's a wonderful idea. And I've also been through this process in Colton Unified where we had I don't think we worked with you, sorry, but we had a comprehensive solar program, and I can just see the benefits of it. It can be done, it can be aesthetically beautiful if you do it right. And so I'm excited to see what some of the next steps are, what kind of money we can save to help fund this. So thank you for being here.
And what I want to point out is this is not just a solar program, but it's comprehensive. Yeah. So obviously the drive is to get your NEM 2.0 applications in before the April 13th deadline to grandfather you in for solar. So that is obviously a big item here. But there's also lighting represents a great opportunity to upgrade your facilities, HVAC, any other HVAC, make the facilities more comfortable, help with indoor air quality. It's a very comprehensive program. We'll check the rates, make sure you're on the correct rates for the utilities. So it's multifaceted. Very
okay, thank you very much. Any more questions? Okay.
Yeah,
so
thank you, very excited.
We do have a motion and a second to approve the resolution as it's presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Now we're moving on to 9.07. This is approve the purchase and installation of the Rowland Telecenter intercom system for Chapman Heights. And is there a motion to approve as presented?
I'm a little good for it.
Got a motion by Board Member Bob Miller. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second by Board Member Bannister. Any questions related to this? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank goodness we got that Rowland Telecenter system. Okay. 9.08. This is an exciting one too. Business Services resurfacing the gym floor at Oakview High School. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Okay, I have a motion by Board Member Bannister. Do I have a second? I have a second by Board Member Coate. And you have a question?
Yes, question. When we resurface this, is it possible, Mr. Brick and Dr. Raymond, if we could take a look at the width of the actual painting on the court? Because it's not standard width. There's nothing we can do about the length, but the width. If you stand there to shoot a 3, you're stepping at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So this is the time we can do that. So this, a few years ago, we resurfaced down to the wood, UCAP High School as well as Mason Middle School. Every year we do a resurfacing of just the shine on top, but we're going down to the wood this time. So we can absolutely look at widening as much as possible the Oakview Gymnasium basketball court.
That's awesome.
Board Member Bob Miller.
And Dr. Freeman, just confirming our local youth sport leagues are using this, youth basketball, et cetera.
Absolutely. UCAP youth basketball as well as Oakview High School PE department.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Now we're moving on to 9.09. This is the Yucaipa High School heating, ventilation, and air conditioning upgrade. Do I have a motion to approve? And this is related to the gymnasium, right?
Yes.
Right, correct. Okay. I have a motion to approve.
Yes,
Sharon, you have a,
Yeah.
okay. Do I have a second?
Approval.
Second.
Okay, second. Any questions or comments? You know what?
Yeah, has been.
Yes, it is. I've sweat many a times and they're watching and coaching. Any other comments? You have a comment?
I will be abstaining from this.
Okay. That's correct. Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any abstentions? We have one abstention. So it passes with one abstention by Board Member Coe. Maybe we'll get to celebrate that at some point. Okay, 9.10 is business services. This is a piggyback requirement related to information technology. Do I have a motion to approve the piggyback?
I move to approve.
I have a motion by Board Member Bob Miller. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, got a second by Board Member Cote. Any questions or comments?
I'd like our superintendent to be able to explain maybe to the public what a piggyback is. I know we know what it is. So if they, what is that term in there, piggyback? It's really a better way to bid or to get a bid that's already made.
It is. It's just a way that we can jump on or piggyback on another school district's
bid that precludes us from having to go out to the bid process. And we typically, because we're a smaller district, if we piggyback on a larger district, the bid is lower.
Thank you.
Okay. I believe we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Thank you. Now we're moving on to another piggyback for custodial and paper supplies. I have a motion to approve.
Move approval.
I have a motion by Board Member Bannister, a second by Board Member Code. Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. We're going on to another piggyback for IT information technology for Ridgeview and Parkview. These are edge switches. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Got a motion by Board Member Bannister. I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Now we're going on to piggyback for legal bids and contracts for child nutrition services. Do I have a motion to approve as presented? Got a motion by Board Member Coe. Do I have a second? Got a second by Board Member Debbie Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. We have a second review, 9.14, for a board policy related to integrated waste management. Do I have a motion for approval? Got a motion by Board Member Miller, Debbie Miller. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a second by
Discussion.
Board Member Bob Miller. And let's have some discussion. You have a question or?
Hi, Superintendent, confirming this is the separating of food and that we're seeing in the city now, we have to separate it.
Yes, and this will be in our kitchens. So child nutrition services will be doing the separation in the kitchens.
I have a question. Do they only have to separate it to the point where that one provided trash can is full and they can use it?
So I can answer that.
Yeah. Well,
so we the requirements of the law are that we have waste containers, recycle as well as food waste. And so we will have those available for pickup from Vertex Services twice a week. And so we will do phase one is just the kitchens separating the trash. So we work with Ann Aguilar, Ann Van Dam, excuse me, our child nutrition director and her staff, as well as custodial staff, and I think this is doable. So just the kitchens.
any more questions or comments? No? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. I'm being diligent at home about separating all of my food from my stuff, just for the record.
Me too.
Sorry. Okay, we're moving on to 9.16. Is that correct? Yeah. This is the edge. Oh, sorry. Okay, gotcha.
1.5, yeah.
Okay, 9.15, this is the second review for instructional operations for food service. Do I have a motion to approve the second review?
Move approval.
Got a motion by Board Member Bannister. Do I have a second? Second by Board Member Cote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Now we're moving on to 9.16. This is for the edge switch migration and installation proposal for Parkview Middle School and Ridgeview Elementary School. Make sure all of our devices connect. Do I have a motion for approval? Motion by Board Member Cote. Do I have a second? Second by Board Member Miller. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Now we're going to approve a resolution recognizing February 2023 as Career and Technical Education Month, and I will move that agenda item. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by Board Member Bannister. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, motion carries. Now we're moving on to another piece of our CTE. We have a district advisory, CTE advisory committee, and we're being asked to approve the appointment of the CTE advisory committee members that are listed here. Do I have a motion to approve the committee? I have a motion by Board Member Cote. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Bannister. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion's carried. We're on a second review of the Code of Ethics and Professional Standards, the Human Resources Board policy. Do I have a motion for approval? I have a motion by Board Member Miller and a second by Board Member Coate. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We're going on to another second review of Board Policy 41119.1, 4219, Personnel, Civil, and Legal Rights. I have a motion for approval.
Move approval.
I have a motion by Board Member Bannister, second by Board Member Coate. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion is carried. Now we're moving on to Human Resources item, approval of the 2024-25 academic calendar. And this, I believe, is being recommended by a committee that gets together to do this, correct, Mr. Stoltz?
That's correct, Mr. Stillings. There's a calendar committee that meets every January.
Okay.
I just want to clarify, who's on the calendar committee?
Members from administration, YCEA, and CSEA.
Okay, so the teachers have input as to how the calendar is set up. Okay,
Two
thank you.
members of their unit.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion for approval of the academic calendar as presented?
Move to approve.
I have a second, or I'm sorry, I have a motion by Board Member Bob Miller. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Board Member Bannister. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Now we're moving on to 9.22, and this is a revised declaration of need for a fully qualified teacher. Do I have a motion for approval? I have a motion by Board Member Coate. I'll second the item. And can you just explain for us, Mr. Stoltz, why we're doing this? I know it's a revisal of one that we did before, I believe.
Yeah, happy to do so, Mr. Stein. So in the fall, the district and the board approved the this form that need fully qualified educators and submitted it to the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. They sent it back in January, advising that we had more detail to the form. The original form was submitted just referring to a science teacher. In the credentialing world, science teachers has particular credentials, and they wanted us to break it down by the exact credential. So they sent our homework back to us. We revised it and we're turning it back in.
Okay. And is this something that would show up on our Williams report as a?
It should not.
No,
It's
okay.
merely,
Okay.
I don't want to say formality because it's important, but it's just a processing request.
I think we have a motion and a second, correct? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Now we're moving on to 9.23. This is an approval of the tentative agreement with YCEA. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion to approve by Board Member Bob Miller and a second by Board Member Coate. Any questions or comments? I'm glad we're doing this.
I'm very glad, and I appreciate all the hard work that went into coming to the agreement, Mr. Stoltz and members of YCA.
Yes, thank you. And I appreciate you being here today, Mr. Dawson, too. Thank you for that. All those in approval say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Okay, now we're moving on to the consent calendar. Ms. Binks, are there any items that you want to change here?
Nope, as presented.
I need a
Okay.
motion.
10.05. Okay, so we're going to pull 10.05, and I'd like to also pull 10.08 for separate consideration. So 10.05, 10.08. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented with the exception of item 10.05 and 10.08?
I move to approve.
I have a motion by Board Member Bob Miller. We have a second.
Second.
I have a second by Board Member Debbie Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're moving on to 10.05, business services, purchase orders, pay vouchers, and commercial warrants. We have a motion for approval.
Move approval.
I have a motion by Board Member Bannister. All second. Discussion?
I just need to abstain.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any abstentions? Got an abstention by Board Member Coate. And then 10.08. Do I have a motion to approve 10.08 as presented?
Move to approve.
And I'll second that. I have a motion and a second for 10.08. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The motion carries. Thank you. Now we're moving on to our information session. We have several first reviews here. Does the board have any questions about any of the first reviews of board? Okay. And then we have, let me just go through here. We have the Williams report. Anything regarding to the Williams report we need to know about? No? Okay. Another first review. Okay. I think we're done with that, unless the administration has anything else they want to offer. No? Okay. Now we're moving on to item 12.01, additional administrative information. Ms. Binks.
I would just like to thank the board for your diligence in reading and the heavy load that there was on this this agenda. I appreciated your questions ahead of time and the ones you posed tonight, but especially want to thank the board for considering the special board meeting. I want to clarify for the public, it's not an emergency board meeting, it's a special board meeting that will be at 5 o'clock with one single item, and that is to allow our wrestling team that are going to CIF the opportunity to go to Bakersfield. So there's a board policy that requires any overnight activities to be board approved. And as you heard our athletic director speak this evening, the paperwork got away from them, but we wanted to make sure that we followed proper procedure and protocol. So I appreciate the board members considering having that special board meeting.
Mr. Stoles, anything?
Yeah, with the board action tonight, I just want to echo the comments concerning the YCEA tentative agreement. I really appreciate the opportunity and the hard work from the YCEA negotiations team, Ron Dawson and Tara Bickford as the leads there, and the district members who served on that team with me. That would have been Giovanni Beignet and Kathy Pearson. It was a really important work that that entire team did. So I just want to say thank you and acknowledge that one.
Okay, great. Dr. Anderson? You got nothing? All right. All right. We got you. Now we're moving on to board member comments. Board member Coe.
I think so many different things happened today. I know I'm going to miss a lot of things, but the best part I think of these meetings are when the students show up. So that is, it's very heartening. I love to see them grow, and it was very fun to do. Thank you for torturing us and making us get out there and do the improv. That was probably the highlight of my day. As far as our counselors, thank you so much for all that you do. Us recognizing you up here is a millionth of the thanks that you deserve. So thank you so much for all of those things. The kindness thing, like I said, there's a lot of things that we could talk about, but I'll close it up there. Great job. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Board member Debbie Miller.
Okay. I have scribbles all over here. All kinds of great things happened tonight. Congratulations to Dunlap, Green Valley, and CECA, and Lance. Thank you for facilitating that. And video was awesome. Noah, always a great report. Thank you for always letting us know what's going on at the high school there. I don't get to, right now, I don't get to go to a lot of events. I have a personal family illness right now to deal with, but board member Cote and I were able to go to watch the girls water polo at Crafton Hills, the first game of CIF, and it was so fun. And wasn't it? It was great. It was awesome. And they did so well. I think they made it to the semifinals. Yes, semifinals. Yeah. So it was fun watching them. I really enjoyed that, and the setting, and it was beautiful. It was great. It was fun. Kind of back to the safety plan. I'm really loving the Stop It. What I love about it is I feel that people are learning, the students are learning, everybody's learning that it is anonymous and that they can report things. I just feel like that was definitely needed and necessary. So I appreciate that. Also, I always see there's always principals, admin, parents, of course, teachers, regulars that come every board meeting, and I really appreciate having you there. You stick it out all the way to the end. I know it gets boring sometimes, but I appreciate you guys that you guys are here. So thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Board member Bannister.
In the interest of brevity, thank you all very much for everybody's hard work. And I just noticed the community support, and it's very nice. And the kindness. And I'm gonna stop there to be kind.
Board member Bob Miller.
Bob, who never is of brevity, but I just wanted to thank our superintendent, her staff. I've got to see so many schools as a new board member. It's important to go see the people working at the school sites, the principals, the deans, the staff have just been wonderful. You know, I know we kind of walk into their classes sometimes, but they've been very gracious, and I've just enjoyed it. Very proud of our district, of what I'm seeing, and our educators are doing a good job. I'm telling you. Got to go to the first one of these I've ever been to, a county all band concert that was on the 11th with the superintendent and Dan from Yucaipa High School principal. They had a University of Redlands at the chapel, and it was really wonderful. Beautiful music. Glad to see our folks involved with that, and our kids doing a wonderful job. And then finally, I'm going to request from the superintendent staff that we do a cost analysis for 2 additional school resource officers, to bring that back at a future meeting, total comp cost, and negotiate with the city on what that's going to look like, equipment, et cetera. With having it, if that cost comes back, let's look at some avenues to pay for that, maybe some seed money to begin with, or some grant money, and or don't like using one-time money for long-term goals, but maybe to get it seeded and to see where we're at and pick it up in future years. And is focused around having at least one at the high school permanently, one at the middle school, Parkview, that's in our county. We'll work on the Mesa View also. Maybe we can share with Riverside Sheriffs, and then still have our one rotator that we have right now. So that would be a total of 3 to start out the new year. And it would take a lot to ramp all that up, I understand, but I want to start with the cost analysis to see where we're at, and then we're going to figure out how to fund it. With board approval. So I want to start that tonight. I think it's on the heels of the safety plan, which I just was very encouraged to read it, and especially the school site emergency management plan. That's good stuff. So keep it up. I know everybody works hard to put all them together, and I'm sure they had a due date that to get them in and everything, but excellent job. And then the other thing, I'm, as a new board member, been a few meetings now. I'll be honest with you, I love working with the professionals on the dais here. They're great people. They got everybody, they got the kids, the students' heart. Definitely is number one. What we talk about is how are we student focused on everything we do. I hope we have outcomes from that workshop that we can implement any of them things. I thought that was an excellent idea by the superintendent and our president, Snellings. And other than that, we'll see you next meeting.
All right. Noah.
All right. What a meeting. I'll just keep it short. It was great to see improv. Thank you to all the counselors and everything you guys do. You're very appreciated, very underappreciated, and you should be more appreciated. You guys are great. It was great to see the new safety plan and seeing how that's all integrated. I've heard lots of great comments from students in reference to stop it and the anonymity. Blackout, if that's the right term, about that. Anonymity. What's good? What was enough? Yeah. Yeah. What a meeting. You guys have a great night.
Okay, go ahead.
Just thank you, President Snellings. I just want to make sure that as I take direction from all 5 of you, is there anything in addition or anything that anybody would like to give for the direction that Board Member Bob Miller would like me to take?
Well, for me, not initially. I mean, at some point, I'd like to see some data justifying those. I mean, some data to look at justifying that. But I don't know if we're there yet. I'd be interested in knowing what kind of costs is associated with that too.
Okay, and if I might clarify, we have been in working collaboratively with the City of Yucaipa and the Sheriff's Department. However, the 2 people that I've been working with are no longer in their roles. So that was to do a third, and a third along with inland leaders. And so I know, board member Bob Miller, that you had stated 3 and the 3 did not include that. So I didn't know, we have not been able to finish that collaboration. I know the Sheriff's Department has worked on it, and they have been proactively seeking additional SROs if we were going to do something like that. But like I said, I haven't been able to get that. So is that something you'd still like me to work on? Just direction from the board. To continue with the third, and third, the share.
Yes,
Yeah.
what we've currently been working on, yes.
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 Okay.
Yeah, and that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you all for coming.